Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I have Joel Evans with me. He's an executive advisor here at Infused Innovations who specializes in unified communication and collaboration. Thank you for being here with us, Joel.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be
Yeah,
here.
of course. Joel, you'll be on a panel discussion next week, and that's centered around hybrid learning in the classroom. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. So the event is called Hybrid Learning, the New Normal in Education, and it really focuses on blending sort of in-person and remote uh, using the latest flexible technology. Um, it's hosted by a company called Red Thread, who is a company that I did a lot of work with and partnered with when I was doing the unified communications work at Northeastern University. Like Infused, they're a Microsoft partner, so Microsoft will also be part of this event.
We've now been in the pandemic for a year, and at the start, everyone was reactive. They were
Mhm.
doing everything they could to keep their businesses and universities running. A lot has changed in that time period. So, what advice would you give to folks at universities and businesses today?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to focus a little bit more on sort of where we were, right? So the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden everything had to get shut down, and people were, like you said, very reactive to everything. You could look at the stock market and even the price of Zoom, and Microsoft and others just went through the roof. And the innovation that came out of that time period is also just unprecedented, because people all of a sudden were forced to allow people to work from home and figure out what that was going to mean. So they bought all they could as fast as they could. It wasn't necessarily the best quality, wasn't necessarily the best setup, but it got the job done. So, that was sort of the reactive. We're now a year in, as you mentioned, and I think the biggest advice I would give is to actually take a step back. Like, let's look at what you really have now and really what you'd like to be in the future, and sort of plot out, that master plan. And that's, a lot of what we've been doing, at Infused is really taking that closer look and saying, where are our clients at right now, doing an assessment of what they have in place today, what they'd like to have in the future, and putting that roadmap in place. In the case of being reactive, as I mentioned, even at Northeastern, and this is something I'll be covering at the event, even something like rolling a Surface Hub into a room that had $50 to $100,000 worth of AV equipment, but all of a sudden you wanted to get it online fast with communication and collaboration. We rolled in a Surface Hub and in seconds hooked that to the existing equipment and had everything up and running. So I guess my biggest advice would be, don't just throw money at it. Like, let's really take a step back now and say, what did I invest in? What do I have in place today? And let's put the right structures in place to scale for the future.
Yeah, technology and toilet paper sales were
Exactly. Yeah, toilet paper
skyrocketing.
sales. Exactly.
Uh, so, Joel, do you see what happened as being in a bubble, so like temporary, or is
Mhm.
this the new normal?
This is the question I get asked the most. This is the new normal. I think on a personal note, my son is going to be bar mitzvahed in the next 2 weeks, and it's virtual. We're sending out Zoom links. We sent out virtual invitations, and again, like just how much things have improved in the last year, technology-wise, to support things like this. It is going to be part of the new normal. It's not going to be an afterthought. It's going to be an assumption that if you can't make it, that the experience online is as close to being in person as possible. People will
Right.
have invested the right things. The sound quality will be phenomenal, camera quality, and I think everything will be almost. I don't want to say like a theatrical production, but people will definitely be paying more attention to what the remote participants experience would be.
Right. And I think for some people and some organizations, this is exciting, right? And then for others, it's overwhelming. Is this something that we have to do all at once, or can it be done in stages?
It definitely can be done in stages, and it really depends on your style. You could buy some technology and see what it does, or you can take a step back and give us a call. We'd be happy to talk about your unique situation. And again, like I mentioned, we could start with an assessment, see what you have in place today, and make some plans for the future. It doesn't have to be an all at once. As a matter of fact, I would recommend it's not an all at once. It really should start with that assessment because, again, um, it's quite possible that in the heat of the moment, things were purchased by your your company or your university that as a Microsoft partner we may already have. We're
Mhm.
using Teams right now. A lot of people don't even know what Teams can do, but Teams is free in most cases to folks, and they don't even realize that it's sitting there and how powerful it can be.
Right. Even this phone call, this interview, and this conversation that we're having, like you said, is done through Teams, and it's doing an incredible job of noise cancellation and
Exactly.
recording and all of those things. Um, so my next question is, if I were a business or a university, tell me how I could get started.
Sure. So I sort of mentioned it in my last answer, but Microsoft Ignite just happened. There's a lot of great videos out there, a lot of great reports on all the latest and greatest technology. I think there's no harm in educating yourself and seeing what's out there and seeing what's new and exciting. But I would recommend taking that step back and again, something we're happy to help you with. Or if you want to do some of the legwork yourself first, work with your technology folks at your organization and really just take that step back and do an assessment. It's the best money, the best time you could ever spend. Do that assessment, see where you are today, and put a plan in place, or work with us to put a plan in place for the future. And take it from there and see where things go. On the university side, there's grants and there's funding. On the business side, there's certainly other funding opportunities to get you the technology that you need to do your business successfully. There's a lot of other pieces coming with different bills being passed, different relief packages. So I think that planning and an assessment is 100% the right way to go next.
Absolutely. And having an organization like ours to be able to support you in that journey. If you're interested in attending this event that Joel will be speaking at, it is free. You can register at Eventbrite, and we will include the link below in the video description. If you have any other questions, you can also feel free to reach out to our team, and we're happy to chat with you. You can reach us at info@infusedinnovations.com. Well, thank you for joining us, Joel, today. It was awesome getting to talk to you about education and hybrid collaboration.
Thanks, Melissa. I really appreciate it. It's definitely a passion and a lot of fun to talk about.